In another world, a long time ago, an ancient civilization lived in harmony. Just like us here on Earth, this civilization had developed a full modern society and had reached many technological advancements. Cars, cities, phones, and the internet were common use, albeit not as developed as ours today. Compared to human history, this world would have been in the earlier stages of the digital age. And if it took them as long as us to get there, they were around their equivalent to our late 80s and early 90s. Noted by how the common work computers in this planet are similar to the Macintosh 2 computers in our world. Alongside these technologies known to us, they counted with technological advancements that are still beyond our wildest dreams, being near impossible for us to replicate. For example, they developed something called automatic language detection, which allowed audio to be played and be heard in the native language of whoever listened to it. Even if multiple different language-speaking people simultaneously heard the audio, they would individually understand it in their own main language. While impressive, this wasn't the greatest technology they had developed. That title was reserved for something they called planetary warp technology, which allowed them to open magical rifts between time and space to travel throughout planets in a matter of seconds. The people of this world were thriving, and this was all thanks to a catastrophic event that happened 30 years prior.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Carl Phillips again, out at the Wilmot Farm. I guess that's it. Yes, I guess that's the thing directly in front of me. Wait a minute, something's happening. Some shape is rising out of the pit. I can make out a small beam of light against a mirror. It strikes them head on. Lord, they're turning into flames. Now the whole field's caught up by the woods, the barns, the gas tanks of the automobiles spreading everywhere. It's coming this way now, about 20 yards to my right.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to circumstances beyond our control, we are unable to continue the broadcast from Grover's Mill.
One day, an alien popularly nicknamed the Ultimate Lifeform, codenamed Specimen ID F-86, and who called itself Fecto Elphilis, found their way upon this planet and began their invasion, causing a campaign of destruction throughout the land. Fortunately for this humanity, the then going bankrupt corporation, Lytron Works Company, who invested in research and development within electrical, biological, astronomical, and other fields, fought and captured this alien invader, bringing an end to its destruction. Upon their capture, the company contained the specimen IDF-86 on Lab Discoverer, a laboratory set on top of a volcano, subjecting them to countless experimentations, uncovering the key to many technological advancements, including their incredible planetary warp technology. With these technologies, Lytron Works Company expanded across the land, becoming the sole provider for electrical energy across the planet. Alongside them, two companies partnered with them and rose to popularity, one of which being Holine Corporation, who worked on industrial and civil engineering, also running a sub-company focused on the development and construction of vehicles, like automobiles for example. The other big company being Arrival Holdings, who worked on goods and recreation, like their multiple Arrival malls and their multiple tropical beach resorts around the continents. These three companies built roadways, skyscrapers, power plants, and nearly everything the civilization used and needed to survive, all ran with the incredible resources Specimen ID F-86 provided. During this time, the writer under the pen name Wondaria began to write children's books. The most popular of these stories all had two egg-shaped dogs who go on many adventures in space together, their names being Wandog and Wandy, both inspired by the writer's pets. No remnants of these books can be found nowadays, but at the time, these two dogs became popularly known worldwide icons. With the rising popularity of Wondaria's books, the three companies, Holine Corp, Arrival Holdings, and Lytron Works Company, founded and co-owned the construction and running of a theme park based off Wondaria's many children's books, naming the park after the writer of those books, Wonderia. This park was constructed on a lot of land placed in between the town, Winterhorns, and the beach, Everbay Coast. This conveniently placing the park next to a town, a tropical resort, and a city. Wondaria's most popular characters were Wandog and Wandy. Therefore, theming the park around their stories and having the two puppies be the park's mascots was an easy and wise decision. The park's design had a mixture of a both traditional carnival aesthetic and a cutesy now retrofuturistic sci-fi theme to tie in with Wandog and Wandy's stories. This is reflected most notably by the use of tents, grassy gardens, and duck ponds all over the park, mixed with a couple of orb-shaped and spaceship-shaped buildings alongside planetary-themed floor tiling. Upon entering the park, you are greeted by a huge static statue of Wandog and Wandi, sitting atop a couple of planets alongside a rocket ship. Under them, the park's name can be seen, written on the planet's local characters. This statue was the perfect spot for guests to take pictures and later on would highlight the park's two main attractions, the beautiful Wondaria Ferris wheel and the spaceship Wondaria, the park's main and only roller coaster. Behind the statue, a cutout standee reading "Wish You Were Here" was later placed for guest pictures to be taken, featuring two characters, a spaceman and what seems to be an alien. It is unclear whether these characters originate from any of Wondaria's books. The interior of the park is built inside a huge moat that surrounds it on its entirety. Only the entrance of the park is placed outside. To get to the rest of the park, guests must cross a large bridge connecting the entrance to the rest of the park. After crossing the bridge, guests have free access to the entirety of the park, first being greeted by merchandise stores and a collection of aerial carousels being themed after closed-up spaceships, rocket ships, and flying saucers. The close-up rocket ship rides spun for 12 revolutions per minute, or 12 RPM, and were designed to spin in a parallel manner without any rider control. The flying saucer rides spun for a slower 9 RPM and worked like a generic jump and smile ride. The rocket ship ride was the slowest, spinning for 6 RPM. The rider could control the height of the ship with a handle on each ship. Another carnival ride on this park is a high spinning swing ride, rotating at 9 RPM, decorated with a rocket ship on its base. And of course, no carnival will be complete without a traditional grounded carousel, this one also with generic space theming, having the seats be themed after shooting stars and planets. Wonderia additionally had another carnival ride, this one being a 110 feet tall drop tower, also with a generic space theming. The park as a whole counted with approximately 4 of each ride scattered throughout the park, usually grouped together, with some exceptions. With the first expansion also came new rides. Their iconic Wondaria Ferris wheel, a beautiful set piece and ride seen throughout almost all of the park, was added during this expansion, alongside their most popular ride, the spaceship Wandaria, a roller coaster that traveled throughout most of the land. Alongside these two rides, there were 2 more additions, one being a series of boats that roamed around the moat surrounding the park and throughout water canals inside the park itself. The other being the Big Top Circus, honing into that nostalgic carnival feel, featuring clowns, acrobats, and magicians, alongside a female leopard named Carol, who could also do all the acts mentioned. Other than these simpler rides, the park additionally hosted something they like to call the Wondaria Dream Parade, where they ran parade cars throughout the park during both day and nighttime, with the nighttime version of the parade having the entire park decorated with bright, colorful, and playful neon lights. For the most part, the park has stayed the same ever since. Throughout the years, Wondaria got 2 new smaller expansions, each adding a new, bigger attraction, the first of which being the House of Horrors, a giant haunted walkthrough attraction, not based on supernatural horrors, but the horrors of the vastness of space. The attraction, possibly based off one or multiple of the Wandog and Wandi series of books, had the guests walk through a dark, fluorescent neon maze and make it all the way to the exit of the locale. The main thrill of the attraction would come from the popping alien cutouts who would jump scare guests once they walk close enough. Other than that, the attraction will contain fake pathways and exits, and many puzzles waiting to be solved. An indoor segment to the spaceship Wondaria roller coaster, the park's most popular ride, was added to promote this new attraction and infuse guests to visit it as well. With the second smaller and final expansion came one more new attraction. Around this time, Hotline, one of the founding companies, had released a brand new car under the vehicle company, Hotline Custom Auto. To promote this brand new car, they began construction a new attraction on Wondaria next to the Ferris wheel, which they called Circuit Speedway. In this attraction, guests would have raced one of Hotline's brand new cars, custom painted to look like a race car, throughout a series of obstacle courses within a time limit. If the guests reached the end of the obstacle course at certain times, they would get different prizes, ranging from discounts and free plush toys, to free park tickets and even a chance to win a free brand new car. The attraction will have 3 tracks built for it, a beginner course, an intermediate course, and an advanced course. Due to some circumstances that will be later discussed, the attraction was never finished, and only the beginner course was completed, with the advanced track being almost complete and the intermediate course had barely commenced construction. With Wondaria's immensely popular intellectual property and family-friendly appeal, Hotline Corporation's flawless construction and work materials, Arrival Holdings' experience and knowledge with recreational goods and foods, and Lightron Works Company's many technologies and solar-powered energy, which ran the entire place, The Wonderia theme park was successfully opened and ran with absolutely no issues or problems currently known to us. What is known is that the park was a massive commercial success. Through this entire world, nothing like this had ever been seen or made before. Wonderia was the first and only theme park throughout this entire planet. Therefore, the park gained immense amounts of popularity and grew to be known worldwide. The Wonderia park did not expand to other continents, but commercials and advertisements for the park ran throughout different parts of the world, mostly on locales owned by the founding companies like the multiple Arrival malls. Suddenly, in what's believed to have been their year of 1992, an accident occurred that changed the fate of the world forever. One day, while being experimented on atop Lab Discovery, a warp experiment incident occurred with specimen ID-F86. A new life form, then nicknamed ID-F87, separated out of the main specimen. The small new chinchilla-like creature managed to escape the facility and was never recovered. In the time since, specimen ID-F86 showed no signs of activity and could not maintain its form, turning into a slime-like creature. To maintain some sort of a form, it was placed into a state of permanent stasis, trapped inside a custom-made eternal capsule, a chamber created to keep specimen ID-F86 stable and continue experimenting on it. The specimen was kept in that state for an unknown amount of time. Unfortunately, as the specimen was incomplete, no new discoveries were made from it. Specimen ID-F86 became useless, and was kept on Lab Discovery with the hopes that one day it will be whole again. The civilization had set their dependency on the power specimen ID-F86 had granted them. However, now without that power, it became hard to keep living on this world, so after a couple of years of working with the last remains of its powers, the civilization of this world left their planet behind to ascend to a land of dreams, running into a new world. Using the planetary warp technology, they left their home planet behind and never returned, leaving specimen ID-F86, the wildlife, and their entire world behind. This including the abandonment of the theme park, Wondaria. Wondaria's remains are now inhabited by the wildlife of the planet, who reclaimed the land. Thanks to Lightonworks' company's solar-powered energy, the park still runs smoothly on its own to this day, long after it was abandoned by civilization and forgotten by time.